7 Days to Die 2.0 was poorly received. You've been saying it, the creators have been saying it, and the fun pimps have acknowledged it. About a week ago, everything started getting a little bit hairy for 7 Days to Die 2.0. Jawoodle dropped his video talking about the problems with 2.0, and in that he discussed a lot of issues he had with the update, and that video was very well received. This seems to have sparked a bit of a fire under the 7 Days to Die community because 7 Days to Die has fallen to a 54% positive rating on Steam reviews. This isn't the end of the world, it is still a positive rating, but this kind of thing does turn people off of buying games, and it will be hurting 7 Days to Die sale numbers right now. I know when I go to buy a game and I see that recently mixed, or even worse, recently negative marker, I tend to just put a bookmark in that and come back later when things are going a little bit better. If they go a little bit better. And basically immediately the Fun Pimps went into damage control. The same day as Jawoodle's video, TFP announced on Reddit that they were going to hold a 2.0 town hall on the 25th of July on Twitch and answer concerns and tell us their plan to get 2.0 back on track. Fast forward to July 25th and the town hall stream happens, and the day after is when we see Steam's biggest spike of negative reviews. So I'm sure you'll agree, it seems that the town hall may have only added gasoline to that fire, and indeed Guns, Nerds and Steel made his summary and response video, which was also very well received, and in that he concluded that they were doing a lot of good small steps in the right direction, but it still wasn't going to change anything significantly enough to become, quote, the game that I am dreaming of. And that's honestly a sentiment I would agree with. While the video was well received, the comments are not very supportive of the Fun Pimps at all. In fact, Joel, Rick, they're cooking your ass in the Guns, Nerds and Steel comment section. It is like an IzPrebuilt fan meetup in there. And oh boy, if you think they're cooking you there, do not check the subreddit. So what exactly did the Fun Pimps do or say that was such a bad move as far as these people are concerned? Well, let's just run through the town hall stream and go over all the highlights, shall we? So, we spend the first 10 minutes of a 50-minute damage control stream listening to the same dog shit song over and over again, which is an excellent start, fellas. Just incredible. And if you don't know, the format of this stream was essentially a Q&A. The devs had a bunch of questions they were going to answer to illustrate their plan to course correct 2.0. And the first question, rather boringly, was why did you put in loot stage caps? And their answer could be summarized as, it was meant to be a feature for the 4.0 story update that would guide the player around the world in the way that the developers intended. Their solution is to remove that loot stage cap because most players just see it as nothing but a nuisance. The next question was why did you put in biome progression? The answer is again that it was needed for the 4.0 story update. The next question was can you make biome progression fit more for sandbox play? And the answer was yes. They're going to be changed so that you can unlock the biomes in any order, so you could go to the wasteland first if you want. Also, their plan is to have more of a story mode and a sandbox mode. Keep in mind this recurring theme of what they wanted to do for the story in a certain way. The next question was, can you make biome progression more immersive and realistic? And their answer was yes. They're going to get rid of the badges and instead have craftable items that will help you survive in each biome, and these items can be crafted, given to other players who haven't unlocked the biome progression, and you can store spare ones in case you die, you need to go get your gear in that biome. They mentioned it essentially being heat survival kits with bandanas, hats and sunglasses, snow survival kits with balaclavas, burnt forest will have a firefighter respirator, and the wasteland will have some kind of mask with filters, and you'll no longer need to come to the trader to be immune. The next question, can you create something more immersive than smoothies and give them a later game use? Their answer was yes, and they answered the latter half of that question first with they're going to reduce storm damage by 50% so that they will have a purpose later on. Additionally, smoothies are gone. You will now have an injectable black lung serum for the burned forest, a sunstroke tonic for the desert, a scorcher stew for the snow biome, and a fallout flush injectable for the wasteland. So you'll have more interesting, immersive and thematic consumables for each biome, and they'll have a purpose beyond their basic run speed boost. The next question, can you make storms do more than just damage the player? They add more immersion, but all they do is put the player in timeout. Their answer was again yes. Storms are now going to have two stages. Stage 1 will give you a biome specific debuff, and then stage 2 will start to damage you if you stay out too long. They mentioned how this will essentially bring the old weather system back, so we can assume that the desert storms might dehydrate you, and the snowstorms might make you hungrier faster, just as an example. They also want to make it so that campfires and torches will reduce your cold debuffs, and wetness will increase it, and presumably they will work inversely as well in the burnt and desert biomes. They're also planning to adjust the frequency to make the storms shorter and friendlier, with even more menu settings to customize them. The next question was, can you make storm gear or mods to survive in storms? Their answer once again was yes. They haven't decided on what they want to do for it, but they're thinking they're going to incorporate the old insulated lining mods and stuff like that, and bring in clothing mods for your armor, so for example a beanie mod for your helmet, long underwear for your outfit. All of that basically just adds the old clothing system back to the game. Also, Fun Pimps, if you're taking suggestions on this matter, take the Nomad armor, take away its current completion bonus, give it a storm damage reduction of 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, and then 100% for level 6. Easy peasy. Next question. Can you make the new enemies fit into 7 days lore? Yes. They're changing the Plague Spitter into a Native American guy, and they're changing the Frostclaw into a Lumberjack Mountain Man type enemy. Hey Fun Pimps, another suggestion time. Save yourself some work. Just take the Lumberjack out of the general enemy pool and go back to having the Lumberjack be the unique zombie of the snow biome like you had literally 2 updates ago, but now it can throw rocks at you. Simple as that. The next question, can you spawn less of the new enemies in the desert and snow biomes? Yes, and they'll reduce the amount of them needed for the biome survival challenges. The next question was just Steam Workshop ? Their answer is yes, they have a person working on it. And that's actually all the questions they had listed, but there was a bunch of other features they talked about that they are considering adding, so let's go over those as well. Third person mode is coming and it looks pretty good. Armor dying will be re-added. They're adding flat spot code, which makes airdrops and buried supplies look for flat terrain. They're adding colorblind options. They're adding legendary weapons, armor, and tools, specifically named weapons, armors, and tools that can only be looted. They're also adding a permanent degradation menu option, which they didn't really explain it very well, but what it seems to do is it will remove the ability to repair gear so that you have to keep crafting new gear when it breaks. Again, just an option, you don't have to turn that on. Other toggleables they were talking about were the ability to turn off trader quests, the ability to turn off trader inventories, food, water, part, weapon, ammo, and med abundance sliders, more difficulty settings, specifically advanced difficulty settings, which allow you to adjust the damage you take as well as the damage you do, backpack size settings, some more workstations they were talking about as well, including a beehive, chicken coops for eggs and feathers, and electric stoves for cooking faster later on in the game. They also talked about bandits and how they're coming along, and there's 12 models for them. There's a quest to blow up buildings, and that's about it. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. These are some decent steps in the right direction, so why was the community backlash after the stream so negative? What did they do wrong? Well, it's hard to say for sure, and there's a lot of people who have a lot of opinions, so there's probably more than one reason. My guess would be that it's split between 3 things. The first one, and probably the least important one I would say, is that there's not enough changes. This is where I personally fell and why I was quite disappointed with the Town Hall stream. They've made a lot of fun changes, but most of these don't address the biggest actual problems with 7 Days to Die, which is progression. The learn by reading system just sucks. It's boring, it's unintuitive, it's grindy, and it doesn't actually slow down progression enough for the players like me who min-max the books. Certainly not enough to justify how horrible it feels for the casual players who'll go an entire playthrough without crafting gear because they don't min-max their loot. Meanwhile, I have a gyrocopter on day 7 regardless of what system you put in the game, so you've just made it worse for 99% of players. Also, do collectors suck balls, and I want jars back. Now, one of the other options are 2. Drained community goodwill. The Fun Pimps have played all their "we're listening, we're planning to do this, we care about our community" cards over the last 5 years. People don't believe you anymore. And you know what? They'd be fucking right to not believe you anymore. You've broken a lot of promises over the last 5 years. You've made a lot of huge development blunders in the last 5 years. This game is going in circles. That can only be forgiven so much before people just start thinking you're a con artist. Surprisingly, I'm actually not in this category. I believe the Fun Pimps are going to do everything they just said they're going to do. And 3, and I think this is probably the big one, is bad developer attitudes. Watch this clip.
The bandits y'all keep bringing up, you know, we are working towards them, as we said just a minute ago, and you know, that's we're going to try to stay focused on that as best as we can.
We are, just so you know, when we're reacting to feedback and we're changing our production plan, we are effectively delaying bandits. Just so you know. So when you request a lot of stuff and you come in numbers and you ask for it, and we say, all right, we're listening, we're going to do this, that costs us time.
Yeah, this clip has rubbed a lot of people the wrong way with the suggestion that it's somehow our fault for asking for a good game that the bandits are delayed. So originally I had a 10-minute rant here about how stupid this is, and then I tried to re-record it and I ended up making a 15-minute rant about how stupid that was. I have decided, in the interest of the people who didn't come to this video for that, to put those rants in another video. I will shit talk this moment in a separate video, because it just is so unbelievably incorrect of a thing to say to your fans that it can't be summarized in a couple of minutes, and I don't want this to be a 25-minute long video. So that last point there, the third one, is a big reason why the developers had a massive negative review spike again after they promised all these different features, and I'm going to make a video talking about why that's stupid, what they need to do to fix that, and fundamentally where the Fun Pimp's ego and mindset are completely and utterly wrong about how they are supposed to operate as a studio. And I'll save it all. I'm holding it in. It'll be for the other video. In the meantime, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and maybe hit that subscribe button if you want to see the rant video where I pretty much drop a fucking reality check on the Fun Pimps. I'm sick to death of the things they've been doing over the past like 8 years, and I've never actually made a video where the point was to complain about the developers. Funnily enough, despite my reputation, not a single one of my videos is actually themed around the idea that I don't like 7 Days to Die or I don't like the Fun Pimps. And this next video will be that, because it needs to be said on even the slightest chance that they listen to it. Because all I really want is this game to be good, and it could be done if the Fun Pimps just change their development methodology in a way that wouldn't be difficult to do either. All I need to focus on is better community collaboration and better planning. And once that video is out, I will put it right here so you can watch it.